What is up, guys? How are you doing? Games Bacon here, and today we're looking at Paladins. Now, what is Paladins? It is a game by Hi-Rez Studios, and if you don't know who Hi-Rez Studios are, they are the people that bought you Smite and Tribes Ascend. Smite being a third-person, over-the-shoulder MOBA game, and Tribes Ascend being a very high skill capped first-person shooter. And Paladins is effectively like a baby child of the two. It brings you the kind of gameplay and the skill system that you would expect in a MOBA, having a few skills that you can then augment and improve on, as well as a map where you capture a point and then you can push the opponent's base to get to a certain objective. But it has the gameplay and combat of something like Tribes Ascend, where it's a very high skill capped FPS. And you put the two together and we get a very, very cool game. And I've been enjoying it. I've had a few games in it, and so far, yeah, kind of impressed. It's pretty cool. So let's have a look at a few flaws it may have, and let's look at what's good about it. Now, first thing to say is that this kind of game right now is probably going to be very, very oversaturated within the next year or two. We have Overwatch coming out by Blizzard, which is very much of the same style, and along with that I know there are others that are coming out which are basically the exact same game, different characters, different skills, blah blah blah. However, the objective is more or less the same. You are two teams, you have MOBA type skills in a MOBA type setting, but an FPS combat. And you're going to see an oversaturation. Some are going to be free to play, some are going to be pay to play, some are going to be pay to win because, you know, they eventually come out. And we're going to see where this falls in that category. Let's look and see what we have in the store, and I'll show you what the vault is, and then we'll get into some gameplay. So we'll start with the store. This shows you the Founders Pack here. So I've got my shiny fiery horse. I get 20 radiant chests, which have five cards per chest. I'll show you what the cards do. And it also gives you access into the closed beta, which is what I'm playing now. We can buy radiant chests. They cost 50 of these crystals each, as well as 3,500, not as well as rather, or alternatively they cost you 3,500 coins. And these coins you get approximately 100 or so per win, but you can also get a lot of them through leveling up and other like objective perks on progression perks. So you're not going to be having to do 35 games to get a chest. As you are leveling up until max level, you'll get quite a few to help you out. You can change your name for 400 crystals, or you can redeem codes to claim rewards and promotional things. Let's see how much the crystals cost. And so we can see there 200 is at $3.99, 400 is $6.99. So instantly we can see the more you buy, the more money you save. Now we can go up to 3,500 crystals, which is going to be £40. So yeah, it's not too bad, but it's also not particularly cheap either. It's kind of a good middle point, and I'm pretty sure by Hi-Rez Studios, like previous games, that none of it is going to be pay to win rather. I'm sure it's all going to be like, you know, skins that these games typically have, and you can buy perhaps a few XP perks, which again don't make a huge difference because effectively the end game is going to be once you hit max level, that's when you get into the competitive nature, and everyone's going to hit max level eventually. So there might be a few perks that you can buy with gems and skins and things like that, but nothing that's going to be, you know, super game breaking. It's going to be a fairly fair system, I believe. Now let's take a look at the vault. This is a little bit more interesting. So we have card collections, and you can filter them by whichever paladin, I guess. I guess they're called paladins because, you know, the name of the game. So each paladin has, you know, 30 cards currently, or some of them have 28, or some of them have 32, 34, whatever. They have an X amount of cards, and you can collect them all. So let's take a look at Cassie, for example, and I can see, you know, I've got these. What do they do? Well, I got this one here, Drain Life, Blast Shot. For each enemy hit, heal 320 over 4 seconds. So Blast Shot is one of her abilities that you can use during the game, and this just augments that ability, and you can gain these cards as you level up. So it's just you level up, and then you have cards to pick from, and I believe they're randomly generated. I'm not 100% sure how it works because at the moment you just get given random cards, so I don't know if you can make up decks that kind of give you a better chance to get better cards. But that's the way it looks to be. So you pick like X amount of cards for level 1, and then it will give you a random pick of 3 of them. So kind of again like a Yu-Gi-Oh Pokemon game, that sort of thing. You know, you can see if you draw the card that really makes that you really want. And you go along, and all these things just, you know, weapons, shots, deal damage equal to 5% of your target's maximum health. That's pretty cool, and that's just your weapon. That's no skill. It's just a straight up bonus. And then you get these legendary ones, which are kind of like your max level, you know, sort of thing. And now instead of shooting, you now instead shoot 3 smaller blast shot in succession, each dealing 200 damage and knocking back by 200. Again, just augments an ability, or you have a 40% chance to strike your target twice. So whenever you're shooting, you might get a double shot. It's simple as that. So all these cards are basically just augmentations to your abilities or your character in some way or form. And you can collect them all, and you can upgrade them and do other things like that. Which is where the crafting comes in. So unfortunately, this isn't my first time recording it and this video, and I've used these all up. But the way it works is you cost 5 common duplicates, and then you can create a rare, or you can make an epic with 5 rares, or you can make a legendary with 5 epics. And you can only do it with duplicates. You can't spend cards that you just don't want for some reason. They have to be duplicate cards, which you acquire by looting chests. And again, I've used all these as well, unfortunately. But I believe these standard ones you can win just by playing the game, and these are the ones you buy. Or you can also get these as rewards, I believe, for, again, leveling up and progression and things like that. So all in all, it's got a fairly simple system. We have the cards that allow you to augment your abilities as you level up, and, you know, collecting the cards and making a like a build, I guess, that works well for you is going to be the main part of that. And at the moment we can't construct a deck because we haven't got any of the constructed play because we're not max level. So let's see, we're just going to practice for now because I want to show you the gameplay without having to annoy other people. Okay, so we're in game, and one of the first things I want to mention is that there is no FOV slider. Most of the options are very good, and we can have a quick look. You got your video settings, which is pretty standard. Audio, again, pretty standard. You can even use a gamepad if you really wanted to, and, you know, all in all, pretty good, except there is no FOV slider, which is not very good, unfortunately, for an FPS, especially when the gun models are so damn big. It can make you feel very sick very quickly. So we're going to press U, and we're going to look at these cards. Now these are the cards that we would have been able to pick originally, and these are the ones that you can turn into a build effectively. However, just in practice they give you some random ones. So we're going to have a look, and we can see that I can reduce the cooldown of my barricade. I can get a heal whenever I stand near my turret, or I can travel 100% further with my rocket boots. So let's just get the heal, for example. And what you'll find is that F will always be some sort of movement, which looks like that in my case. Shift will always get you on your mount, and Q and E will always be some sort of attack damage ability, and then usually some sort of utility. And the utility obviously depends on the character, but all in all, the idea behind all of it is you just shoot and you do damage and you kill things, and you win the cannon in the middle, which, as you can see, this time we did not. Right now we are defending against the cannon, which they got because they picked up one of the control points. If you look in the top right hand corner, you'll see the map, and straight down the center on a horizontal axis you will see that there are 3 white dots. Each of them has a random chance to be turned into a control point that you can capture, and we can see that it is one spawning in 18 seconds. When one of those spawns, everyone runs there, and that is the point that everyone is fighting for. Once one of those capture points are captured and someone controls it, it spawns the cannon, and then from there you have to protect or defeat the cannon depending on which side won, and you have to push the base. You have to push the opponent's base, or alternatively make sure they cannot push yours, obviously. And that really is the whole gist of the game. You capture the points, you defeat the enemy, and you win the loot at the end. I mean, there's really not a whole lot to it other than that. The combat is it's awfully simple, to be honest. There's really not a lot of complexity to it at all. It's just kind of spam your left click and not a right lot else. Q&E do offer some variability, however they're usually very long cooldowns, so they don't really do a right lot in the long and short of it. I mean, like, you may get some use out of it, and obviously they do help, especially as you augment them and they get more and more powerful, which we can see here. You know, yeah, 100% more movement speed for my allies, really good. And I can get siege armor, or I can have my turret pulses and knock up. That's, you know, great. And all these things add to the utility and they add to the character. However, they come very quick, but they're so minor, and it doesn't make up for the fact that the actual like vanilla shooting is so absolutely bland. Also, I died very quickly. Whoops. But the actual just general shooting is very bland. It's not very quick, it's not very interesting, and you can literally just hold down the button and yeah, there's not a right lot else to it. So that's its kind of downfall. The shooting is very boring, which really surprised me because Tribes Ascend is actually very engaging when it comes to the combat. So it kind of blew my mind that they didn't take more of that Tribes Ascend feeling and put it into this game. All the characters have slightly different abilities. I would say that there is variation, but honestly there should be more. If you've looked at games like Overwatch, you can see just how different they can make all the characters, and honestly it almost feels like they've kind of let everyone have a similar kit and then just made them look different, which is always a worry about these type of games. Just MOBAs in general, you know, you get to a point where, oh, this character does basically the same as this, but it just looks slightly different, and that's never a good thing. So yeah, guys, that's it. What's your thoughts on the game? How do you think it's gonna develop? And are you interested? Let me know, and I'll see you next time.